Good morning, everyone. Good morning, umbraCoffee, and hello, Corné and Callum. How are
Hey.
you doing? Both.
Good morning. I'm doing
How's
good.
your
How
week?
about you two?
Not that bad or beyond average. I've learned so many good answers for how are you this week, and I'm just still trying to adjust. But it was very good, busy as usual. One of these crazy weeks as well. Callum, what about you?
Yeah, same here. It's always crazy, isn't it? Always crazy. But yeah, I don't know. We have to. Yeah, every week I say this, but it feels like we're getting to a point. Finally, things will calm down for a little bit. You can maybe take a break, have a day off or something, and then every week presents a new challenge. So let's see.
And then life happens. But there's
Right.
always Friday. That's always there's always somewhere a Friday aligned ahead of time. And this is it today. We are in the episode 216 today, and that's exciting stuff. And yeah, it's March already, second week of March, guys. Did you realize it? Because I didn't. I'm just surprised every time when I'm looking on the calendar right now, to be honest. But that's how it is. Yeah. Hey everyone! A lot of live watching friends and community members. Hit like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And we can kick off with the news set from this week because it was very packed and very busy week as usual. Let's start from the date-related announcements and news. There was International Women's Day, of course, this week. We all celebrated as a father of two lovely daughters. This specific day is one of the mostly celebrated in our family because we enjoy the time together. But it was also a Women in Tech celebration, and Umbraco community is a great example of how it evolved and how it increased in terms of both recognition, evolution, and general awareness of the women in tech, because we have a great community and great representation in our Umbraco fam. And this blog post just does it all. So it's a whole story of the beginnings of the from the initial code gardens, all the pictures with the small representation out there, to the biggest ever community.
I mean, it's crazy to think the difference between those four photos is a year in each photo, and that's incredible.
Exactly.
It's like doubling, I guess, each year there, which is fantastic to see, isn't it?
Still, we know how hard it is to even bring more women to the community events due to all of the circumstances and issues exposed by many communities already. But that's exciting, and I know that our representation in our community is doing a lot of great stuff to help reduce all the barriers, reduce all the bias, reduce everything basically to make sure that we are exposed as one of the most friendliest communities ever. And I think it just proves the point. And here it's a great blog post. If you haven't read it, just check it out because it's a great story and great highlights of what has changed, what has improved, and how it's going, and what's next. Because also the community is and Umbraco is doing some sets of news initiatives to make it even better, and that's the exciting stuff out there. So yeah, that's happy International Women's Day once again, and there was of course happy International Men's Day aligned together. But it was very good to see it all happening. Did you guys flag anything interesting this week around this initiative? Any companies? Any interesting highlights?
It was doing the rounds on Twitter, wasn't it? There was a gender pay gap bot that was retweeting companies' tweets and saying, in this company, women are paid 30% less, and that was quite a good thing to raise awareness of those sorts of issues. The other thing I was going to say, something we were talking about yesterday evening at a meetup, was that the UProfile initiative has done a fantastic job this year of highlighting people we maybe hadn't met before. A lot of fantastic women in the community, a lot of people from other countries as well, not necessarily kind of Western Europe, as where it seems a lot of the community is focused sometimes. So it's a fantastic work that's gone into that too this year. They highlighted a few of the great people, didn't they?
Yeah. So yeah, definitely something to keep up, and yeah, Emma and the rest of the team from HQ and community are, as I said, are doing an amazing job to make it even more easy to be involved. So if you haven't seen it and you haven't done anything yet from your side, make sure that you are aligned with whatever is happening from the Umbraco HQ and community perspective, and just do it. So that was on March 8th. And there was also another news related with that on Umbraco Fundamentals course. It's probably I don't know, second or third times in a row when Umbraco is doing similar activity. This time it's 8 spots for women around the world to take the fundamentals course for free. So whoever wants to learn more about Umbraco, thanks to the online nature of it right now, it's even easier to make it happen. So yeah, the dates and the submission dates are ending on March 16th. So it's not only a daytime offer. And it's still open, so I believe that someone will definitely benefit from it. And if you or we know someone who maybe don't know Umbraco that much, wants to just attend fundamentals course and celebrate this International Women's Day, just share this link. I don't know how many submissions it usually flies in, but it's always worth to make it happen.
Last year they tried to select people from different regions for those free seats, which I think is a really nice idea. They've previously done Code Garden tickets and other things as well. Of course, Code Garden tickets aren't on sale just yet, so that they can't really give those out. But I know in the article previously, Carol was saying how she went to her first Code Garden thanks to one of those initiatives, and of course is a community rock star now, isn't she? So
she is.
Just
shows what you can do.
Exactly. So yeah, share it. The more, the better. Definitely, if it will reach out to many more people, probably Umbraco will do something with it as well. So yeah, let's do it. And let's get back to Umbraco releases, because we had a big one release this week, 9.4 RC. And it has a lot of new feature improvements, 65. That's an exact number, and fixes already in. And it's on RC, so it's still under testing period. And yeah, a lot of improved stuff like improved item tracking, file uploads, and many more. I can't even relate to all of the changes. There are so many of them. But Corné, you can relate more to some of the changes because you've made some of them, right? How was your journey with the contributions to this one?
Oh, it was great, especially because the community was so incredibly helpful. We started with an Umbraco Lab session as an initiative to get started, seeing if we can find a bug or an issue on GitHub that we would like to tackle. And there was one specifically, which is the one that I chose to tackle, which is the file permissions one. Which was also one that I ran into after on Umbraco 8, actually, after Umbraco 8.14. So I was like, let's decide to tackle that and see what we can do in an Umbraco Lab session. And an hour like that flies by so incredibly fast. So I believe the week after that we had another session to finish it up, and with the help of Michael reviewing it. And a lot of other community support, making some extra additions to it and such. Yeah, we managed to get that issue fixed and ready for the release candidate. So yeah, it's extremely cool to be able to motivate the community to participate in actually contributing to the CMS in such a way.
Yeah. I think that seeing the story from Umbraco Lab to the pull request being merged and released is just a proof that the whole journey works. And I saw some tweets. You've been also sharing that you were very happy to see this first major feature and bug fix contribution made, and same as Andy who made a first. But hopefully not last pull request to Umbraco, and both of them I probably saw some Sebastian's tweets as well, highlighting that how it all started, how HQ and Sebastian and the team there was helpful. So definitely it's not an end of the journey, and after this kind of friendly and kind process, definitely there is a more energy to do more. and I hope that this energy will spread, and more of this will definitely come into the Umbraco future versions.
There has been a lot of people. There has been a lot of people highly praising those Umbraco Lab sessions because they have inspired people to go ahead and contribute and to get more involved, which is great. And even people, I remember someone the other day was saying how it's great just watching people like Paul Seal work and think through a problem and kind of chat it through. It really helps with your own debugging and whatever else. So yeah, I joked yesterday that it needs to be renamed the Umbraco Paul because he's on there every week.
Paul has been doing some amazing work on those Umbraco Lab sessions.
And also Paul shared yesterday the idea of virtual meetup, or let's say collab. It's hard, I don't know what the name is, probably to be discussed, but it's like an online place where people are doing their work simultaneously and are not forced or asked to talk, but they can, of course. So I think this idea is still being born. So everyone who feels like something like that is needed probably can get back to Paul's tweet. We may dig it out and share as well, because it was really interesting, and I think everything what can help and what fits our calendars, schedules, work routines is worth doing, especially recently where we also have sometimes more opportunities to do it online and with various peoples. And as you've said, Corné, seeing kind of inspirational people doing and finding how they are solving some of the problems is definitely the way how I learned the most, because then it can also confirm that we are all struggling with the same issues. We all have the same problems in solving the similar situations. So that's always helpful to see it. So yeah, that's 9.4, and again RC. So everyone can test it out. Everyone can share the journey, explore and expose more issues or ideas for improvement. But yeah, it's already there, and everyone can benefit from it.
I tweeted this just now, but since day one on MegaNav, I've supported item tracking, and it's been there since Umbraco 8.7, and people haven't really done all that much with it. I've done a few packages where we've dived in a little bit there, but item tracking makes a lot of sense in that sort of context. It's knowing when an item has been picked on a certain piece of content. If you remove or unpublish that, it might break that piece of content. So it makes sense that MegaNav would be aware of where things are used. Yeah. So I just supported it because it was something that I could support. This morning, I've installed the 9.4 release candidate, installed MegaNav, and it just worked out the box. I added a page, got a warning when I tried to delete that page because it was in my nav. So it's really, really, really powerful and very effortless to get started. You may be surprised that a lot of packages you're already using already support it and you don't even know, which is fantastic. So I don't have to do any work either to make it work with 9.4. It just works.
Great.
Nice. That's nice. Yeah, that summarizing contributions, I think we can also jump to the second topic announcements this week. That is about MVPs, because that's the place where all the contributions can be gathered. Submissions for MVPs are open now, and everyone can submit the nominations for both new nominees and also renewals for the Umbraco MVPs. And yeah, I think it's usually I used it as a kind of reflection of what I saw within the recent year, what flagged most of our attention, maybe even during the umbraCoffees, because we try to gather this news every week, and we see what's happening usually around the globe and around the releases especially, but a lot of the things are not that easily seen. And this is the place for Umbraco. I remember the first open submissions. I don't know, Callum, if you remember that, but it was, if we talked with Umbraco on the Code Garden, then they were so happy that they saw so many great new people and new nominations coming in from various places around the world, because it's impossible to track everything, and it's impossible to see every possible contribution or activity in Umbraco. So definitely,
but also you may have an experience with someone that actually no one's seen. I know that a lot of people do a lot of helping others in back channels, for example. There's the Facebook group Oh, that photo still, damn. There's the Facebook group that I've not ever been a part of, but I know that people like Nick and Paul are really, really active in there trying to help members of the community. And so there's arguably large parts of the community involvement that just goes completely unnoticed. I know that someone like you, Corné, you're incredibly visible with the blogs you do, and you've come on umbraCoffee a couple of times, and that's great. But then there's people out there that are doing that kind of in their local community, and we never get to hear about it. So yeah. And again, I think I say this every year, but please take the time to fill in as much detail and give as many examples as you can of the great stuff that people are doing. Even if it's yourself, even if you don't think what you've done is all that significant or impressive, take the time to do it. You owe that to yourself or to the person that you're submitting on behalf of, because ultimately if someone's seen value in something you've done, you're an MVP. Everyone should be.
And again, we've been sharing a lot of articles and information after being even awarded for the first time with the MVP, how it motivated or demotivated some of us internally in the whole community. But it is definitely a motivation, and even so, whenever someone is reflecting of what we've done over the year or years, it's helpful for finding more motivation to do more of it. Same as with Andy's pull request, for example. If it is something what we are proud of, why not to share it, right? There is a great book, Share Your Work, and it was very common across Umbraco community. I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago.
We gave them out as speaker gifts at one of the UK festivals. We ordered like a box of 50 of them, but it's a fantastic book, really fantastic book.
But again, if even the most amazing work hidden in the box somewhere is not making the impact, and we can all make impact because we all do amazing stuff. So it's worth sharing, and this is one of the opportunities, one of the greatest opportunities in our community to be awarded and recognized with whatever we've done. So the timeline is simple. 9th of March is the applications opens. It's already past 30 March is when it's closed. So plenty of time, almost full month to collect the ideas.
Plenty of time, and yet everyone is still going to leave it.
Of course, we will see the same chart as usual.
I think yesterday I managed to put 4 submissions in or something, which I'm impressed that I took that much initiative to do this super early.
Nice.
But it's also weird this year for the first time I've actually had like a list of people already. It's like as soon as the MVP awards are open, I know I'm going to nominate these people. And in previous years, it's been I've not nominated, and then it's been really interesting to see what comes through in the submissions, because existing MVPs get to review. But this year I've had like a sure 4 people that I wanted to submit. So.
What about you, Corné? Do you have someone in mind, same as Callum? I need some time to think about it, to be honest. But what about you?
That's a good one. One specific person, community member, I might not be able to pick, but like you said, there were so many community members. I don't have a choice to pick one myself, but definitely have a chance to submit a few. So I'll definitely keep it in mind in the next couple of months.
And of course, I mentioned Corné's incredibly active. If you think Corné's work's fantastic, go nominate him. Why not? If you like umbraCoffee, go nominate us. Corné's blog I know has been hugely popular in the past 12 months. So
definitely, and it's not an advertisement spot here, and it is a community work for all of us to really recognize people who are worth recognizing, and let's do it. And I think it's a call to action first of this episode for all of us to really spend some time and think about people worth being recognized in our community, because it all helps for all of us to grow. So yeah, this is really important, and the next set of news is about releases, because there are some of the new releases as well, starting from umbraco Forms and umbraco Deploy, versions 8.11 and 9.3, with editable entries in the back office, what was something very awaited in umbraco Forms for a while. Again, permission improvements and some new enhancements of the access levels there. security, start folders. That's a lot of the great Perplex forms on steroid work from back in the days. A lot of new stuff in there as well. I haven't catch up with all of it. So many great improvements, but yeah, it's there. And same with the Umbraco deploy, with member deployments, content comparison, and there's even a video here displaying how the feature works when we ship it. And both of them are right now possible to be updated and just tested. And all of them also landed on Umbraco Cloud projects automatically. So yeah, all of us can use it and benefit from the new releases of these versions straight from Umbraco HQ. The next one is also big. And Corné, maybe if we have you here, did you use Contentment already or not yet? That's the question.
I am using it, yes. Not on Umbraco V9, but that's mostly because I'm not using a V9 production site yet. But yeah, we are using Contentment in a couple of use cases, yeah.
That's nice. It has a new version now with a really new property editor called Editor Notes, similar to the read-only label notes editor with some enhanced UI options and a lot of fixes.
There was Editor Notes as a package, wasn't there? Way back.
Yes.
We have one similar to that. But yeah, there's a lot of valuable things that have all been bundled into Contentment.
Buy rig buy. That's interesting.
Oh, I'll talk about this. So for those that have used Contentment, Lee's got like a little upvote downvote thing. An upvote takes you to hour, and the downvote previously rickrolled you. So you click the downvote and a GIF would play. He's removed that. Let's spread a rumor that it's just because Lee, just like YouTube, Lee doesn't want to have any hate on any of his content, so to remove the downvote. No, but yeah, he used to rickroll you.
So yeah, good to even find some Easter eggs like this by analyzing commit messages and release notes. Kudos to Lee here for making it interactive here. But yeah, this is a new version, the latest version 3.2. Everyone can benefit from it, and a lot of contributions here and help out here. So it's definitely one of the most active community packages recently in an overall. So good to see it updated constantly. The next one is a simple redirects package from Patrick with some new enhancements of and help for media redirects and triggering 404s in terms of some of the redirects. And yeah, if you haven't checked this package, this is the fork of the original one, and right now it's helping to deal with the redirects as an opposite to other available packages in the Umbraco sphere. I remember it being used in a couple of the projects in the past, which I was involved in, and it did an amazing job there as well. So yeah, it has a new update here. And Ken Jacobson, who was our guest last week, he
didn't think to release. He released this on Saturday or Sunday. He didn't think to release this Friday, maybe, so we could have talked about it.
Why not, awesome. Right?
Looks really cool.
It looks awesome, and he didn't even mention it during the episode. That's the crazy stuff. But it has some really cool cool insights and cool packages and property editors being both replacements or enhancements of the existing ones. And yeah, great set of and very inspirational set of packages. I'm sure there is more of it inside of it, but I haven't checked the project and I haven't installed the package yet. But it looks amazing. Yeah, so that definitely everyone can see and reuse it, and it looks just amazing. Callum, you've been also releasing some new stuff this week.
Tell us more. I did a demo last week, and I didn't want to obviously highlight it in the demo, but it was, people may have noticed that a pop-up clicked open and there was no icon, so there should have been some. So I fixed that. Fixed a couple other little things that shouldn't have happened. There was a button at one point that I clicked and it did nothing, so that's fixed. Nothing like a bit of a live demo pressure to iron out some of those bugs. So yeah, quick release last Saturday or something. Get some fixes there.
Cool. And another redirects package, Skybrat Redirects received a first beta version, and we've been touching this topic on Twitter, and last umbraCoffee is why alphas, why betas, and it confirmed that it's less what's the correct word for it? It's less less responsibility, less pressure. If you name it as a stable version. But again, Anders here.
Clearly, the pressure worked because we've no longer got an alpha; we've now got a beta.
Yeah, no, right now it's better. More pressure, more more demanding request from the already amazing package. I'm sure that there won't be too many requests for that. But it's beta version, first beta version for Umbraco 9, and if you don't know this package, definitely check it out. Same as other redirects packages to help you dealing with redirects in overall, and it has some nice really features and upgrades here already. So yeah, check it out for sure. The next one is interesting one, and Callum, you've been doing some of kind of steps as well and notes back in the days of how to upgrade Umbraco to the recent versions, and Lottie here shared the Umbraco V7 Upgrader, and this is the process that is following the ProWorks blog from back in the days on how to upgrade successfully from Umbraco 7 to Umbraco 8. And here it's even beyond that because it's from Umbraco 8 to 9.2 in the overall.
So Lottie's done a lot of work. She's basically cobbled together all of the different tools that are available. The ProWorks, the ProWorks tools. I think Steve Megson had a.
The pre-migration health check, yes.
That was it, like a health check and a few other things just to make this work really nicely. Cobbled it all together in one repo and then documented the steps that she's used to get her V7 database over to V9. Yeah, very helpful. Very helpful.
Very helpful.
We've done a bunch of stuff recently around those ProWorks migration tools as well. Probably will contribute some of them back because we found a few quirks or a few cases that weren't covered. Doing a V7 to 8 migration with loads and loads of legacy stuff in there, like archetype, some custom property editors, stuff you really don't want. Grids in nested content with nested content inside them. You don't want to be doing
dirty stuff. and Corné, what about you? You've mentioned that you haven't you don't run any 9 production site yet. What about V7? Is there a lot of V7 projects still run by you and your teams?
Luckily, it's mostly V8. We do still got a couple of V7s, and I believe still the occasional V6 laying around somewhere. But that's mostly for the more smaller clients that don't have the budget yet to upgrade yet. But luckily, we're mostly on V8 for most projects. So glad for that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a more common and more used path of upgrading V7 to V9 because there's the end of support soon for the V7. A lot of projects are already thinking about rebuilding. So great to see this kind of stuff. And definitely, if anyone will be going through this path and see some kind of shortcuts, improvements, or generally anything, what can help? Let's just contribute back and let's gather it all together because we can all benefit from it for sure. And thanks, Lottie, for sharing this one and gathering already a lot of stuff from various experiences in here. Yep, the link and for everyone who don't know, the links will be down below the video, so you can go there and check it out yourself. The next one is Uskind, a new release of Uskind with some improvements there as well. Fixes for errors and some enhancements related with the forms templates and breaking changes from Umbraco upgrades to avoid them, of course, with the future Umbraco upgrades. Probably we've all been there with Umbraco default upgrades and forms themes. Here it's improved, and same with the grid components. So all of the Uskind users can benefit from this release and just get rid of the issues in the future. For sure. And 2 new ones, the Dxp enhancements, and very interesting ones, because first of all, it's a Umbraco CMS integration for Shopify, and a very big e-commerce engine right now, possible to be integrated and embedded
starting to
within
see
the
here
Umbraco.
some examples of what these sorts of DXP-esque integrations are going to look like, because yeah, this is a product picker from within the CMS, so it's not doing like a full-blown, you can just install Shopify and it's a shop in your it's a product picker, so you can then render the data how you need. And the other one that they did was HubSpot form picker, I think.
Yes,
similar concept. Pick a form, some helpers for rendering it on the front end. That's about it, which is very helpful. I can see why people would use that.
Yeah, again, I think I was involved in many integrations like this because, first of all, we don't want to have Umbraco responsible for everything and every kind of data. We don't want to have all the products from every possible e-commerce system in Umbraco every time. If we want to, we can use vendor or similar products that are made for it, for Umbraco particular. But there are some already existing integrations, already shops on Spotify, already people using Hubspot, etc. But then wanting to embedded it on the website or reuse the data from systems like this in their Umbraco content. And this is exactly what it is made for what it is made for. And yeah, Umbraco releases it as a package owner. So it's Umbraco's responsibility now to also maintain the kind of stability and generally the functionality of the integration itself. And it's great to see this coming, and probably there will be more of it, because that's the mission of Umbraco, to make it easier to also integrate with existing tools out there.
I'm
going to
hijack this conversation quickly. Could you just open up one of those screenshots?
Which one? Shopify or
any? Doesn't matter. I think the HubSpot one's actually got a better screenshot in it.
Okay.
But
let's do that.
So how do we feel about managing tokens access as part of the data type settings? So this is a connect and disconnect button, because it's really got me thinking. It kind of makes sense. The way we normally do this is probably put an app setting or an API key somewhere and have that globally. And in this case, it makes a lot of sense that you'd be able to manage different keys per data type, right? So you could have two HubSpot CRMs connected with two different data types and different configuration. But I'm not sure how I feel about the flow or the UI or anything.
I think I understand the motivation probably here, because think about cloud, think about projects that are not that developer centric, I would say. And again, I saw it on many other existing tools where you just connect to some tools, use the authentication somewhere, and it's stored somewhere in the database. We don't need to configure or pre-configure it as a developers in the config files. And yeah, same what you've highlighted right now. So it's close to a user. So your profile is probably responsible for being connected to. And again, here it's interesting. If I would be able to connect to multiple HubSpot accounts from the same instance.
So here's where I'm going. You know, I'm always thinking 10 steps beyond what's currently possible, trying to push the scope. I've said this before about licenses. Probably need a central place to manage licenses. Do we need a way in Umbraco, a standardized way in Umbraco of managing connections and storing those against either a user account or globally in the system?
Yeah, that's interesting. Again, I can share some concepts from the social media perspective. Let's say tools for automating publishing of social media posts. You can connect to the Facebook accounts, you can connect to Facebook adverts, Twitter accounts, LinkedIn, etc. from one profile, and then you have it and you can use it. Same with tweeting in behalf of someone else. You can do it right in this platform. So I'm sure that it can be done, but I don't know how yet. But I believe someone more clever than I will figure it out. Corné, what about your experiences? Maybe did you have anything in depth with all-out providers, connections like this, and anything from your experience?
Not specifically at all-out providers in this specific case, but that's I find it quite a tricky situation, because just like you said, like I understand it from a user perspective. Like it would make sense to be able to configure it on a data type place for to at least to be able to connect to multiple OAuth providers or multiple users at the same time. But I'm not really sure how to feel about that in the long run, because especially when thinking about things like connection strings and keys and whatever, it wouldn't be the first place that would come to mind to store such a thing. on the data type itself. Like Callum said, like the web config itself, or maybe something like an Azure Key Vault would make a lot more sense from a security perspective, in my opinion. But the whole OAuth conversation would be a totally different one, perhaps. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I guess the overarching point I'm trying to make here is these are the first sort of DXP type integrations we're seeing from Umbraco. Awesome. Some of them look actually really helpful. People who've watched this know I've been very skeptical about this whole DXP exercise, and they look like things we'd use, and so that makes perfect sense. It's just how they're then going to make sure that ecosystem is consistent and coherent across all of these platforms. If we've got certain maybe community packages doing license management or token management in slightly different ways to the core ones, and then maybe even deviation within the core ones as things get a bit more complex, it's going to be really interesting. These are probably just the first two examples we're seeing, but I can imagine there's a load of other places where we may need some shared stuff in core, some ways of doing these things to make this a bit nicer.
Yeah,
exactly.
we've been talking about it on the festival last time when we see each other on the Gold Partner Summit as well, right? It was like a topic for the discussion, and again, if more people and maybe let's say partners will be doing this kind of integrations, how they will implement it from their side, and share the ways and similar ways of doing it will be definitely helpful. So yeah, let's ask these questions. Let's see more of this kind of coming. And I'm sure that if there will be a need, someone will find a way of making it work for all of us. But yeah, it's a good spot, I think. Interesting stuff.
And I've just totally hijacked the episode for 5 minutes there. Sorry.
But that's a very good discussion. Yeah, that's a very good discussion. Cool. We can move on to one and last package to be mentioned this week, but one of the very exciting ones. And I can say I can personally relate to this announcements because we've been recently talking a lot about webhooks, event-driven communication in between of Umbraco and various other tools. And of course, when we were talking, Matt was coding. And right now we can see the sneak peek of the Umbraco Elsa integration. And what is interesting as well is like the whole. I wasn't even aware that there is an Elsa workflow library that is doing all of it magic and enables us to do all of this magic with .NET framework and .NET Core. And this is the integration. I confirmed with Matt that, for example, we will be able to integrate and build some webhook triggered workflows that are connected to Umbraco events that later the Umbraco events trigger something else on the workflow path. Exciting stuff.
I'd never seen this Elsa thing before. Clearly Matt is up to something because this in the space of like a week has gone from nothing to, hey, look, I've got something working in the back office. Him and Nathan were talking about it. I believe Nathan said he's also in Plumber got an Elsa-esque thing, but it's very Plumber oriented, whereas Matt's created a kind of generic workflow manager in the back office around Elsa, which I'd never heard of Elsa either, but it's like this, it's like an open source library for workflows, which is cool, a kind of standardization there. But it does look incredibly powerful, really, really powerful. And I can see loads of potential. Someone asked earlier in the week, outside of all these workflow discussions, about webhooks, because webhooks exist in hardcore and in cloud. How can we get these? They should be in core. Lee Kelleher said back in V7, he had a package used internally for webhooks. I know about that because I created one for V8 that still never saw the light of day. I asked Lee if he minded if I took over the idea back in like early V8. And so I've got that sitting around on a hard drive somewhere, and still in V9 we're still trying to get this concept off the ground. But this looks fantastic.
Yeah,
Marcin, I know you're a big fan of low code, no code type solutions. This is becoming more and more familiar. People using things like Logic apps or other services to just plug components together. Why
Zapier, PipeDream. I was doing a lot of it, and again, we were sitting in our teams last week probably with our hands on top of the keyboard, saying how we can build it for Umbraco, how we can do it, how we can have a UI for managing triggers and combine it with the workflows with the webhooks only. Then Richard Soteman reached out to me on Twitter and said, "Oh, let's combine forces and let's build something for Umbraco." And then Matt released this sneak peek. So good, Matt. Thanks for saving a lot of time for us on doing it. And probably right now we can all combine forces. Matt also mentioned that there's a chance that he will open source it as well and release it, because there is I don't know if he and team is ready for maintaining a third commercial package like this. So let's have fingers crossed that it will be available for us, and we'll all benefit from utilizing workflows and also triggers events across the Umbraco integrations, because I did a lot of it on my own already. But definitely there is a need, and there's a place for having a dashboard like this internally in Umbraco back office as well. So yeah, good stuff. And of course, we will all learn more about it ahead of time. I'm sure Matt will be teasing us more and releasing some of the versions soon. But yeah, I checked this ELSA documentation in the meantime this week, and there's a lot of possibilities out there. So yeah, there's definitely a lot more to come from this integration. This is about packages, a huge segment about packages this week. And the next is Umbraco Meetups. Callum, you've mentioned the London meetup yesterday. Carl was talking about containers, right? That's correct.
Yeah, Corné, you were there, right?
And Corné,
I was, yes.
How was it?
Great. Yeah.
I help organize it.
No, it was great. Carl did an amazing job. Showcasing what he wanted to showcase involving containers and Docker. Very inspiring. So yeah, it was great. Lovely that I could be there. So yeah.
I know you've done some blog posts and things previously on V9, and I believe you've got some knowledge of working with Docker.
A long time ago, yeah. I did some experimenting in the early stages of Umbraco 9 when I believe it was still in beta. But I never really messed around with it a lot more afterwards, sadly.
So you don't use it at work, for example?
Not yet, no. Still looking for a good excuse to use it at work.
Yeah.
So, but that's what most things.
That seems to be the case across a lot of companies now. People kind of wanting to use it. I said this yesterday. People are being told they should be using containers, but not being told the why or really knowing why. It's the same as like still unit testing and DDD type stuff. Like you're being told, but do you know microservices? When should you really? All that sort of stuff.
Oh, but I'm coming right now. I'm facing another challenges. So right now, if you have, for example, microservice-oriented systems and API-centric systems that are fully containerized, and then you need to get and get your hands on with it, and you are completely unfamiliar with it, that's not a motivation or force to do it, but it's a must. So I think before we will be in the position where we need to use it or must use it, let's get our hands on with it and be familiar with it up front. But this is definitely something what is getting more close to us for the normal use because of the nature of the new framework, .NET Core, all the possibilities right now with the, let's say, more abstractions, less file-oriented systems. So yeah, we are getting there, I think. So we also played a lot with Docker and Umbraco 9 at the early stages, but right now it's a lot easier. There's some more improvements on the way that will make it all probably easier for all of us. So yeah, let's learn upfront. And all of these meetups are a good opportunity to learn and exchange knowledge. I personally plan to reborn the meetups here in Poland as well, plus visit some of the .NET groups and learn from them as well, because they are definitely a couple steps ahead with the utilization of the containers in the .NET stuff. So yeah, let's do it. And the meetups which we wanted to mention this week are happening tomorrow. One of them is happening in the Navi Mumbai group, .NET group, and it's about Visual Studio Structure for the project. And the second one is the return of the Kent Umbraco meetup. and Callum, you are talking there, and Matt will be talking there about the integrations with the construct. So it is already great lineup out there. And do you want to tell us more about your talk, Callum? Anything?
Nope. There's not much to, there's not much to say really.
Come to the meetup. Come to the meetup to learn.
Yeah, I'll chat about
no
the migration.
sneak peeks. No sneak peeks.
It's an in-person event, but Matt is, I'm assuming, not coming down from Huddersfield to Kent, because that's a really long journey. So I don't know if there's virtual attendance or if Matt's just talking virtually, but for the in-person people, I don't know. But it should be good. It's nice to see some people in person for the first time in a long time. And can I just say again, complete side note, I'm so happy that Meetup has allowed you to make bold titles. So talk titles are now bold on.
Yes. Small improvements, right? Small improvements.
It's been 10 years and you've never been able to do that. So thank you, Meetup.
I hope they got some CMS behind the scenes that allows them to.
Oh, and that's a good point. Sven's coming. I heard this yesterday. Sven's going to come.
Oh, Belgian chocolate.
That's exciting.
Sounds like a good old days coming back to our community. Yeah, definitely worth to go if you are able to. And last but not least is another comeback of Umbraco meetup. Improving constantly, also utilizing the bold text in the event description, and Rob is going to talk there about Umbraco Azure App Service, how not to autoscale that.
I love that topic. That sounds fantastic, because we see that so often and being done wrong so many times that I really want to see this one.
And again, one of the documentation pieces that is all about anti-patterns is still one of the most visited and most shared pieces of documentation. So yeah, let's learn how not to do things to then do the things better.
We frequently revisit that for like, has this changed? Just go double check.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, another one, and it's on the end of the March, so that's a lot of time to align to this. Speaking about March, and there's a new profile announcement for this month, which is Danny Lanchester. And we probably all know Danny, and if someone don't know Danny and his contributions to Umbraco accessibility, this is the whole story of his involvement to the community, how it all started, how it all evolved, and I think it's a well-deserved and another great highlight of the community member, and his great tips for how to be recognized and on top of the activity in the community. So yeah, that's a great highlight and well-deserved recognition for sure. And yeah, then we can come back, Corné, to you and your blog post. So maybe you can tell us more about this one, what it is, and how you discovered this piece of work to be highlighted on your blog.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was a short blog today, but luckily, at least I believe still it can be quite an important or an impactful one. But because of Umbraco 9, we've switched away from .NET Framework, of course, and because of that, we no longer have the traditional web.config that you're used to, which allowed you to, one of the things that allowed it you to do would be to create rewrite rules for URL rewrites. And I believe another team at our organization came across that issue a couple of weeks ago. And I didn't really have a clear answer for that, because that made me think, like, you're very much right. How do we do that in V9? Yeah. So yeah, eventually I stumbled upon this solution that luckily ASP.NET Core themselves support a new middleware option. To still use the same formatting that you were used to, at least if you were to go for the IAS URL rewrite options, and have that being read and configured within the startup of your application. And that's also when I found out that the rabbit hole goes a lot deeper. I didn't write about it in this specific article, but I believe the Umbraco docs themselves also updated actually last night, having it a bit more detailed. But there is now also an overload on the add IAS URL rewrite options to automatically include a file reader, so you don't actually need to open the file system and such yourself. So you're no longer system dependent. But I believe there was also a lot of other redirect options, or a lot of other options to create redirect rules shipped with ASP.NET Core themselves. I believe there's also an Apache module one, but also the ability to create redirect rules individually in code. So yeah, there are quite a lot of options, and that's one of those hidden gems that's hidden in the ASP.NET Core library themselves, which Umbraco can make perfect use of. Which I thought was worth highlighting and bring to the attention, so that other people at least know that hey, it's still a thing, a little bit different maybe than that you're used to, but it's still out there. So be sure to make use of it.
This really got me thinking, for the same reasons as you just said, Corné. We've done a couple of Umbraco 9 sites. I don't think we've ever put rewrite rules on there now, and I was like going, we've not done that. How have we not done that? And how would we? Because the config's all different. And then, it's great to see this. As you say, it's in the documentation. I know this is a fully like Microsoft supported solution, but it feels really weird going back to an XML-based config file for this. I understand it's just reading in the kind of old legacy format effectively to support that. But it does feel like an odd thing where we've moved away from XML-based config completely, and then the solution to fix this is drop an XML config back in.
Exactly. And I do believe this is mostly due to backwards compatibility reasons, because I dove a little bit deeper into the decompiled versions of this. And underneath the hood, all it does is try to parse the different versions of rewrite rules that you can write, so whether it be IIS or Apache or you name it, to the old standard iRule interface that ASP.NET uses under the hood. So I believe it's more of an option so that you can still use the old formatting that you're used to, but not necessarily that you're forced to do so.
You mentioned you can potentially use like other formats as well, like an htaccess file potentially. You say
for example,
an Apache one, which is cool, because when we've done sites before where we've rebuilt someone's WordPress site in Umbraco, and they maybe had a whole bunch of rewrite rules in their htaccess file. It's like, we could just bring those over. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And generally, having everything on the server side is a lot better. Plus, I remember the big rewrite files that we were making or even generating based on some SEO agencies' outputs, for example.
What's the biggest one you've ever seen? Thousands of lines I've seen. Like someone's just like, we're going to import all of the rewrites we need. No patterns, nothing. Just every single thing into one massive XML file. Horrible.
Yeah, but it is required, and that's the thing. Same with the htaccess files you've mentioned. There was a lot of work placed already for making them work, and it's great to inherit it and be able to use it, and with the highest possible performance of the redirects. It is important, because again, I wanted to highlight the same chat route that IIS writing is faster, and that's still the preferred way of keeping redirects to happen before it reaches out to the application. I saw some bad implementations of redirects done on top of the application gateways. Some of them even high on a higher level. So there is no perfect way of doing it, but there is always a need of making them work and deliver the highest possible coverage of the redirect rules.
For those that don't know, I think the IIS level rewriting applies like an application config file, which is an XML-based file, a bit like a web config, and drops pretty much the exact same stuff in there. It's just happening earlier in the pipeline. You're not running through the whole application pipeline. It's doing it at the web server level. As you say, Marcin, you can do those at a gateway level and higher nowadays as well, which is crazy. Yeah. This also got me thinking a couple things. Firstly, this is the documented way, according to the Umbraco docs, of doing this. Could Umbraco do something to maybe check for the presence of a rewrites XML file, and if that's there, just enable it so there's a little less configuration? That would be pretty cool. The other thing that made me think, as you were saying there, Corné, there's loads of other options I didn't know about here to create redirects in the application. Could plugins like, I don't know if it does, but the Skybrid redirects plugin or the simple redirects package, could they be using some of this standardized ASP.NET middleware to do all of the redirects, rather than, as I believe before, they intercept with like an HTTP handler or something to then put their redirect logic in there? I don't know.
That's a very good one.
It would be very cool to see.
it's a question about responsibilities, right? Because the application itself, the package, the Skybird package, is already in Umbraco, and should redirects be depending on Umbraco itself or not? Maybe, right? That's the question. You can have multiple applications on the same instance, and how and which one should then handle the redirect? And I kind of like the Skybird approach then with this last chance content finder back in the days. So if there is nothing else happening, let's hijack this and make sure that we are checking for the last resort of help. But yeah, let's make this discussions happening. If you were dealing with any kind of challenges like this, share your journeys, share your work, share your findings, because we'll definitely benefit from it. And if there will be something new to be implemented across the packages and Umbraco core itself, I'm sure that it will be discussed and picked maybe at some point too. So yeah, that's why the title of this episode is about redirects as well, because we want to don't fall into redirect loop inside of the week. We want to really get off the loop into the weekend at some point. So yeah, that's the way to go. Another blog post, really interesting, was from Purnima this week. And it was about member registration and some new ways of doing it with Umbraco 9. With the ASP.NET Core Identity. So yeah, great highlight of how it can be done, how easy it is, and how we can utilize the whole authentication across the Umbraco 9 versions. Yeah,
you're no longer sharing your screen, Marcin, by the way.
Oh, well, that's good to know, because I was scrolling through the Purnima as well. And
I had a feeling
the great stuff of it, but this is it, and of course we will link it up here. Thanks, Corné, for mentioning it. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out for sure. And Warren shared a nice video on UI web component library, which we were highlighting a while ago. I can't remember when it was when we dived into this for the first time. Right now, it's there, and everyone can benefit from using it. So yeah, and Warren highlighted this in the really nice video covering a lot of areas and use cases of the UI library. Did you guys use it anywhere already, or not yet? No,
not yet.
We were awaiting as well for the kind of final version of it.
There was some discussion on Twitter about when's the right time. They said that they're planning for a V1, like an actual stable V1, pretty soon, and there is the goal internally, the intention to try and get that into the back office for V10. So that would potentially mean package devs could start reliably using it in V10. If I can find a link to the thread, I'll put it in the links down below as well. But very interesting read. So it's still subject to change, but it's pretty much there with the components that they wanted. Looks very thorough too, doesn't it?
Yeah, but also Warren asked yesterday or a couple of days back that it was, if UI library is already there, what you want to know about it, and that's the thing. So I think internally, even Umbraco team is considering it is as partially done or mostly done. So that's a good sign, of course, for all of us, because then it means that there will be less major changes, at least around it, and we can already utilize it. That's the way to go. I think
Owen in the chat saying they've been using it internally, which is awesome. Share your experience.
Yeah, good to know. So yeah, that's the video to definitely catch up if you haven't seen UI library yet and where it can help. Then pull request of the week, Callum. The segment that is back.
Where's my little banner? My banner.
We have a badge.
Yes. This one, I love this. This is from again Patrick Demoy, who's done a kind of like node restrictions in the back office, or node type restrictions. So you can say, I want to be able to create a settings node, but only one of them, or only one at this level, or something, which looks really powerful. And there's been packages for this in the past, I think, preventing people from deleting things too. But this looks like a PR to core. He's updated it for V9. That looks awesome. So have a gold star, Patrick. This looks brilliant.
How it is configured now? Is it on the doc type level that this is just a singleton?
He doesn't show the configuration here, so I'm not entirely sure. I think as the from using, was it 9.3 the other day, with all of the history cleanup stuff, it's got quite messy, that back office doc type UI. So I think we can do these really nice advanced features and add them into maybe into the UI in the back office. But we at some point we're going to need to rethink how that UI works. Yeah. So it looks like it's code based, but it probably should be in the UI. Just needs a little bit of thought.
And again, it's in the under allowed children. Yeah, definitely something what can allow one children of the type under the specific node type. That is amazing. I think we've been talking about it a lot of the times, and yeah, I would definitely use it. So that's the thing. Thanks, Patrick, for doing it, and let's see it released and used more often out there. Good find, Callum, as well. And two interesting discussions on the Twitter highlighted this week for maybe a final call to actions this week in this episode to get out of the umbraCoffee and dive into the Twitter battles. First of all, started from Lee about the packages and new packages. What is the expected support for V9 only or both V8 and V9? And I don't know if you see my answer. My answer is for V9 only, and I think I do it on intentionally because right now I do not plan to do more on V8. That's my honest answer. What about you, Corné? What about you?
If I have the choice, it will always be V9, and I also voted V9 in this case, even though I mostly still maintain Umbraco 8. From a package developer specific perspective, if I were to create a new package, I would target V9 too. Yeah.
And again, from our experience, and we have some experience with it. If the package wasn't supported in the previous Umbraco versions, and it was very heavily needed in the project, it was forcing some projects to just migrate higher to Umbraco newer version. Sometimes
it's tricky. That's been my experience too. But the reality of that is just not the case. It's just not the case. I made the argument of, we're pro V9, we're all in on V9. Every new thing we build will be V9, no questions asked. We have V8 sites that we're actively developing features on that will not be upgraded in the short term. And my example is people add packages to projects when they solve a solution, not necessarily at the start. So contentment wasn't around at the start of V8, but we added it to a project when we had an editor need for it. And so if contentment hadn't existed for V9, we wouldn't have, hadn't existed for V8, we wouldn't have gone, we're just going to upgrade to the next. We would have gone and done something completely different or made a kind of custom thing to make it work. So I'm still of the view that if you can, try and support both. If you can, if it's worth the hassle, try and support both. But there is going to come a point, like especially when we have V10 on the cards too, probably V8 falls off the wagon at that point.
I kind of like the input from the package creators here, right?
Just V9.
Yeah, but also see the package, see the input from the package creators. If they could support both, they would do it. And it's same the matter of the resources, possibilities, and time restrictions. And I know how big relief was for some of the package creators, some of the even HQ members, if they don't need to support some of the crazy if checks for various versions and dependencies, because and then focus right now on the real values of the packages or features. So it's a tough decision.
I started multi-targeting V8, Meganav for V8 and V9, and when I found that every single file in my solution had like conditionals in it, then I went, you know what, this is a mess. Like wrapping the whole thing, the whole class, all the using everything was fundamentally different. Like, it's not worth it. I'm just gonna fork it, and it literally took me 40 minutes to then make it work on V9.
That's nice. And last item on our list is a big comeback of the question, but right now with a real pronunciations of the word Umbraco. So yeah, how do you pronounce Umbraco? I kind of like this.
I rewatched Doug's video from at least 10 years ago now. All these people, how do you pronounce it? It's still to this day not settled. It's not settled. But...
So yeah, let's find out. And I remember all of this kind of tweets as a stress relief when people were just replying that I pronounce it like this, and they were writing the same words all the time. So yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's share your ways of pronouncing Umbraco and watch this video that it was highlighted here by Lee. And yeah, just enjoy the Umbraco. That's all from our list today. Anything to add? Anything what we missed? I didn't find anything yet. No one bombarded me on Twitter so far with what we missed. But if we did, sorry, and let us know. We will definitely highlight it again in the next Friday's episode. Corné, thanks for joining us. It's you've been highlighted so many times recently that I feel like you are with us on the episodes every week. So it was good to have you back.
Thank you very much for having me, Marcin and Callum. I always love being here, so yeah.
We love having you.
Yeah, we hope to see each other on more future events, in real life events as well. So fingers crossed for more of this happening soon. And yeah, as usual, we'll see each other on the next Friday. Make us busy, keep the news coming, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the day and the weekend ahead. Yeah. So thanks.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe, like, true ambassadors. Yeah, like, subscribe, share with family, friends, colleagues, WordPress fans as well. And yeah, let's spread amongst, because we have a goal, 1,000 by Code Garden. So
yeah,
hopefully it will happen. Cool. Have a good weekend, everyone, and see each other next Friday.